Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of our 4th Age Total War Reunited Kingdom campaign. We are assaulting an army that is besieging our recently conquered settlement of Habad, I believe is the name. This is just north of Umbar, and it's come under siege, but we have a pretty decent half stack here. We've got a couple of Knights of the White Tree, a couple of bodyguards, and I think this guy is either our king or our heir. I think he's the heir, Valakar of Tol Falas. And so he's commanding a 31-man strong unit of Knights of the White Tree. We've got a couple of Knights of Dol Amroth, and we've got some mercenary Harondor riders, as well as 3 units of these Southron spears. Now the garrison should be showing up, yes indeed, as reinforcements. And fortunately, they are going to show up under our control, so we won't have to worry about the AI, doing too much damage on our behalf. So what I think I want to do is kind of wait until they all arrive here. They'll all get out on the field, we'll march them over, and then we'll decide exactly how we're going to crack this army. Okay, our guys are pretty much in play, and you can see here we've got a decent bunch of archers, we've got a couple of mariners and some swords, but these are very weak, the infantry units, so we'll be doing most of the fighting at a distance with this army, but it'll be good to have archers, so at least we can kind of determine how the course of the battle is going to unfold. Over here, though, they've got rather more archers, only 3 units, but these red sand archers have just a lot of men in those units, and backing them up, they actually have a lot of cav. It looks like it's almost entirely this light Herodwaith rider cav, but they do have a single unit of the Harondor riders, and they've got a good mix of swords and spears and the usual kind of thing. So this is a pretty balanced army, which will be a bit tricky. So I think, well, we're not going to necessarily want to risk everything in an archer duel because we don't have that many archers. We are bringing some more down, it's true. But of course we want to maintain what we have as much as we can, so we don't need to keep ferrying troops from Gondor, every couple of turns. So I think we want to just do a general assault from all of these forces kind of as quickly as we can and get the matter decided. I think we've got the cavalry superiority. Yeah, for sure, because we've got these 3 lancers and we've got these 4 strong units of cav. So if we can use them correctly to defeat the enemy's cav first, and then just kind of hold back from this infantry and just withstand the archery as much as we can, we should be in a pretty decent position. Okay, it looks like they're coming out actually faster than I expected. So let's get the archers forward. If they're going to be aggressive with their archers, I think I can deal with that. Let's see. I think I'll go with the lancers over here. We'll see if we can get a bit of high ground. We'll combine them with this family member here. And we will do a bit of targeted fire. They're going to shoot my Southron spears, which is great. These units are plentiful in the region. They can be retrained at Umbar. So we can take losses there, and meanwhile we're getting some relatively free shots at these red sand archers. And they're moving these guys back. Alright, I hope the army doesn't withdraw completely. It looks like they're just repositioning, though. And with these cav, we want to move them up again to try to force some engagements with their cavalry. But we're going to have to keep moving these guys up as well. It looks like they're bringing some infantry down. So let's pause this. This is where it gets tricky because, yeah. Alright, let's get over here with the cav. They're going to charge the archers, but we're going to massively outnumber them. Let's actually run forward and engage these spears, I think. That wing is going to be fine. And there's a couple of swords. We could get them with our cav. So let's just keep the charge going. They don't have a family member, so the morale of these units is not going to be super strong. We should break them fast. There they go. And let's get the Dol Amroth men-at-arms back. I'm going to risk these Harondor riders a little bit more because, again, they are retrainable in Umbar, but we're gonna take a bit of damage here potentially as the cavalry starts to surge in our general direction. We've got these infantry too, but they're not that useful. Alright, that Okay, it looked like a withdrawal for a minute. But yeah, we've got this, I think. It's just going to take a few of these feints, and then we ought to have it all wrapped up. There goes the general, the Hairdwaith Riders there, as well as Horsemen of the Harnan. So I think we've got that. Okay, they're going to do some stuff with that cav unit, and they left their archery line unguarded. And these are swords marching at our cav. We'll hit them straight on. Alright, we should be good here. Hairdwaith Riders are caught. That captain can get away. Honestly, that's fine. We'll get into these footmen. They'll rout. Honestly, these archers are sticking around more than I would expect. I think these spears, too, should be routing pretty quick. They're wavering. We'll get into them with these cav, and they should be gone. Okay, even before then. Very nice. So, a pretty decent battle. Yeah, victory. I'll take it. So, I was a little concerned about this one, honestly, because just the army composition. You bring in an army like this as reinforcements to a kind of weirdly cav-heavy force as the Reunited Kingdom, and I'm never quite as confident as I guess I should be with these troops. Because you see, like, the weakness of my infantry units. It's just literally 3 Southron spears and 3 very understrength swords. So you would sort of think, okay, you know, we're not going to be able to block. But that's not what we're really doing. I'm not playing the Reunited Kingdom like they really should be played, arguably, which is as that melee-heavy kind of juggernaut where you get your infantry troops and you just hold fast. I'm sort of necessity training more archers and then using more local cav, but it's working out really well. You know, I'm curious about that. People talk about their play styles sometimes with these games, like, oh, I like cavalry, or I like infantry, you know, heavy armies. I think I'm more of a cav guy, but I wonder, is that just me, or is that just the most efficient way to play these games? I'm curious about your thoughts there. You know, I also notice, I don't think anyone ever says, I'm an archer guy. You know, like, I train exclusively archers. I go for ranged. I mean, I guess there are some. I remember reading on the forums people talking about strategy as the Reunited Kingdom and talking about training, like, you know, 10 units of longbows and getting, you know, 10 units of catapults, and there's your 20 stack. So I guess you could say people like that are definitely ranged happy. Well, and you know, fantastically, we've got enough movement points to immediately head back here and swat this army away from Umbar. And they're just going to withdraw. Get back into the city, get some training going. I know I could have attacked them again there, but I don't think it would have been any better of a use of my time than what I just did. So we'll get them next turn. I mean, I guess I could have wiped out the stack, but we're not that concerned about it, I guess. But with that, we have done a pretty decent job of dealing with what we have in the area. Of course, we've got a big army here besieging we've got Karen Bad, which is definitely going to be a flashpoint for training. And we've got another army here that's going to potentially catch up to us if it heads off into the west. But it may not. It's not that big of an army. It's not that elite of an army either. Just want to check that there's nothing in the trees there. Okay, so we've got our army headed south. They'll be there next turn, our full stack. And I think we can definitely afford now to turn it on Habad. And then we can use the forces around here to, you know, deal with these small threats. And then I think I want An Umbar. And then we'll have basically the Umbar region all ours. We can, at our leisure, take these 2 forts. We're going to be in a pretty nice position there. In terms of income, we're projected to, you know, make a little bit of money. We're up over 100,000. Again, it has been a while since we've gotten there. So I think what we got to do at this point, we want to make use of some of these high-tier Harondor units, the Harondor Outriders specifically. And so I really want these guys. But in order to get them, first we're going to have to build our major province, unfortunately. And, you know, that's going to take, you know, almost 10 grand. But you know what? We may as well. This is also actually going to improve our income slightly. So this has a note on the description, land tax revenue 80. If we look at what we currently have, land tax revenue 50. Now, unfortunately, due to the game, due to sort of hard-coded limits, my understanding is that that is not something that is going to be displayed here. So if we check before we queue up that building, it's predicting a land tax of 545, and we queue it up and still 545. Nothing changes. But I believe that actually would change. If this building is finished, we're going to see more than 545 land tax. Now, it's a little hard to measure this for sure because other things can impact the land tax. You can have a guy with traits that affect land tax total. So if this guy dies, we're going to be making 10% less than this at least, and there may be other traits that affect that tax. So it's a little bit hard to verify, but bottom line, you do make more income as you grow your province levels, and the description of the land tax revenue 50, land tax revenue 80, that's not like 80 million or 50 million. I think it's some multiplier or something that gets applied that then goes into your income. So it is something that is useful to do, basically. Checking in with Minus Ithil, only 18 seasons left, so we're really getting close to that. And I can see the Rohan is moving down towards Kirith Gorgor. They've got that under siege. So they may be getting some of these forts. If they do, I'll buy them from them. You know, we'll deal with that when it comes. But it looks like finally Luthmore Chant has fallen, and we're starting to see their armies moving up towards the East Bight. They're going to take that, I imagine, pretty soon, and then there's possibly going to be a war between the Bjornings and the Rohirrim, or Dale and the Rohirrim, and or Rune and the Rohirrim. They could head over there. Meanwhile, we are besieging Lond Nurnen, and the goal here is just to wait it out. So we're gonna stick around for a while. We could assault at some point if these units get beaten down far enough, but I think we can just hold out. In the north, things are looking extremely stable. I'm very happy with how this has played out. It looks like they lost the family member up here, so that's great news. Maybe he just combined with this ruler, actually, because this guy was the heir a moment ago. But he looks fairly old, so he may die of old age, and then we may only have one family member here. But at any rate, I'm pretty happy with how the situation has stabilized in the north. We've got troops here that we could use if we need them. But we haven't yet, and we've been denying trade rights with Tharbad. We'll probably do that a bunch more this episode. So let's see if they are asking anything for us, and just see what else we've got in store. Pretty much on the agenda is dealing with the Umbar region and also dealing with Lond Nurnen. Okay, so a faction has been eliminated. I'm going to guess that's Far Harad. If we look, they lost that settlement that I just took from them. So we got to get this script going. This is the Peace with the Dead script. We click Show Me How, and then we get a Changing Loyalties mission, or a notification. Yeah, so we are no longer allied. So this is pretty, it's an intentionally vague description, because what's happening is all of the alliances and wars between the faction that has been eliminated are being wiped clean. So it can't say something like, you're no longer allied, or you're no longer at war, because it's going to be true of that for some factions, but the opposite for others, if that makes sense. So basically, we're going to see this go away. So our alliance is gone in this case. I don't know if they were allied or at war. They were probably allied. They were allied. And then we're going to see no longer at war, Empire of Harad and Far Harad. So basically, okay, actually, yeah, the message is different depending on whether you're at war or not. Okay, so, and this is just the message that a faction has been eliminated. So always a little sad when that happens, because we have one less tool in our toolbox for working that diplomacy, right? Like, I can't give that territory to Far Harad anymore, so it's a bit sad. But the income's holding steady. We're projected to make 8 grand, so I think taking that settlement in the Umbar region has really helped. So let's head right back down there straight away. We can move our armies down here, and we can see that they're not really gathering yet. It looks like these two forces are aimed in this direction. But if they want to take me out, this army could get to me. This one can't. So one option might be to attack this army, but I think I won't. We'll just keep moving west. We'll see what they do. And if it looks like we can get one of these guys isolated, then I may consider it. But meanwhile, down here, we may as well get... let's get these guys out and hit this little army. All right, and we can hold out with just a single unit of spearmen in there. Now, in terms of the Lord of Umbar, I'm not too eager to leave him behind because his stats are not that great. What else? He's unintelligent. Yeah, he's unwise. So he's just going to get a bunch of debuffs, essentially. If we get a good governor around here, I may get rid of the lordship from him and give it to someone who's better. But we're just going to keep building in Umbar regardless. We've got enough money. That's kind of what we've been saving it for. You know, these types of situations. In the early game, I hoard money like crazy. Because especially when you're playing as the Reunited Kingdom, there's just not a lot of it to go around. At least how I play. And so I'm very afraid, you know, to build stuff. And I never go over my profits in terms of how much I'm spending. But in the later game like this, where you've got over 100 grand, you've got a protectorate in the bank, it's like, that's what you're saving those vast funds for those times where you really want to build up a province so you can get the cool units, but you don't want to wait for a governor who's going to have just the perfect traits for it. So over here, we've got no archers, but we do have swords, footmen, and skirmishers. So we'll just speed this up and get our guys on the hill here. And then we'll march towards them and probably do some pretty basic cav charges and see how that goes. So a thing to keep in mind as you march your guys into position, just something you notice is that the cavalry, if you just walk them at a regular walk speed, are not going to get tired ever. They're always going to stay fresh. Whereas your infantry are going to start to get tired, especially as you go up hills. So it's actually quite nice. Especially when you get a cav-heavy army, because you can just take your time and kind of walk around. Of course, cav is in general going to have a bit better sort of stamina, so to speak, as opposed to infantry. But yeah, you can see these guys are winded or warmed up, but the cav is just fresh still. All right, so we're going to get some javelins, but we can charge them with our other cav. Let's pull back. We're going to get into the melee with those spears, but I'm not really concerned about it. We can swarm them with our own spearmen and then charge in. I imagine we're going to be getting rid of that general pretty quick too, or the captain. Yeah.
The enemy general flees. Press forward so the spirit of his army is broken too.
And these guys never got that tired, even going up this quite steep hill. So I'm kind of impressed with the stamina of some of these units, like these mercenary Southron spears in particular. Now I checked their stats. It doesn't say anything about stamina there. They get a combat bonus in the deserts. I don't think that has anything to do with fatigue regeneration, and I'm not sure if fatigue regeneration is governed by any other sort of invisible stat. I haven't looked into it, but it seems to me that these guys are quite resilient to retaining that fatigue level. And, compared to, say, like the Gondor swordsman or something. So I'll have to, get into a battle where we've got those two different types. I guess it's the armor that they're wearing is part of that, because your typical Reunited Kingdom infantry are going to have really heavy armor. And so that's I'm sure going to have an impact. Okay. So now that we can do this, yeah, let's go ahead and hit this fleet. We're just about done with Haradrian fleets, though. Just about completely finished. All right, it's Alcarandas. This might be even. Actually, no, they're just about wiped out, so we'll take care of them. A crushing defeat. Yeah, I guess so. Jeez. Balance of power is weird when you're doing naval battles, so that was a great victory. But yeah, we are just about done with this nonsense because they only have 2 ports left. They've got this one and they've got this one, and we are about to take Habad. We're going to land right here. We're going to put this place under siege. Now, they could march over and hit me this season. And I can't quite get over there with this army. I could with this, but I don't think I want to. Actually, you know, maybe I could. It saved me a bit of time, I guess, on the counterattack. This guy's not a great governor anyway. Let's see, we've got 4 archers. Okay, we could get over there. Let's get this guy out. Oh, that's right. He's the really good governor who we need to keep inside at all costs. But I bet these guys have movement points. Oh, no, they don't. These guys do, though. So 2 generals. And 4 archers, many of which are under strength. I think we can do this. It's going to be really even, and it's going to be kind of a silly battle. They got 2 units of swords, but nothing else that I'm worried about. And I think we can use our cav in tandem. We do have an heir here, so we want to be a little careful about it. Let's check his traits. Yeah, he's a competent commander. Spendthrift is good for morale. Iron Fist is bad for morale, but good for movement points. He's a Dunedain, which is good for morale. He is charismatic, also good for morale. So he's got some decent traits. Wary fighter, so we can use him in battle there. Although he is under the weather, so that, you know, if we'd gotten him back to his city and gotten over that illness, then he would have a little more health. But I think we can still risk him in some of these fights. So this is going to be kind of a silly battle because we're just going to be playing keep away. Probably going to be up there. Yes. Indeed. But they've got no long-range missiles, and their captain is this unit of swords. So if we can get over there, we'll plink away at these desert skirmishers, although they do have shields, but they're still pretty unarmored. Maybe we can pull some of the infantry towards us and charge them down, especially if we set up, you know, at the bottom of this hill. That's going to just look like a complete sort of bad move on our part, but with the intention of sort of falling back and letting our cav deal with anyone who wants to pursue. Alright, if they're going to sit there and take it, though, that's actually smart of them. Okay, but they're not. They're not. So let's switch over to those swords, because I'd like to take them out. Alright, let's go quick. I don't know if we can escape these footmen. No, we're going to get caught. Oh, and this is not a great charge, is it? Let's hit those skirmishers. 65 shaken. Alright, this feels pretty dangerous here. We are still charging, though. We're still getting a charge impact. This is really dangerous. Okay, they're no longer fighting. Evenly matched. Alright, let's switch over to swords. Yeah, they're winning slightly. Alright, let's pull back because we're getting some javelins, I think. Alright, but we're going to do some arrow fire to them. We've used about half of our arrows for actually just some of our units, not all. So keep away from those jabs and get them down to around 20 or so. It would be nice if we could have that luxury. I don't know that we will. We'll be using these archers in melee, I think. And what are they shooting at? Okay, they're shooting at my archers. Alright, that's actually fine. Alright, let's run back. Okay, they're going to pursue. Alright, we're going to get a shot in the back here. Very nice. Broken. Awesome. Okay. Back to the skirmishers. We'll just run these guys down. Alright. That's plenty. Now, this is the other scary unit. I can deal with these just with the cav, I think. But these Swords of Harad, we're going to need the archers to be working with us. And these guys are now winded from all that running around. We can almost hit that that sword unit. The danger here, of course, is the javelins. I'd rather not lose my air. He's got kind of a cool backstory in my mind. He's sort of a dual Amroth guy. All right, but now let's hit those swords and let's go after the javelins with the Knights of the White Tree. Now, we're probably going to get shot here in a minute. Let's see, did that do any damage? Yes, oof. Oh my gosh, that did a lot. All right, we're charging in. Losing heavily and broken, and we're getting some good shots here on the Swords of Harad. They are reloading, so let's run away. Those footmen, I could fight with my archers alone, but I want to keep shooting at these guys, because we're going to get some nice shots. All right, back down. They're tired. So are we. Alright. Back off again. Now, they may not have any more javelins. They may have used them all. Alright. We are now at a position where we can start to turn fire on the footmen, who are going to start feeling very surrounded. These guys are down to 65. We're very close here. They're going to rout pretty soon, I would say. They're shaken. Wavering. All right, let's switch to those Swords of Harad. These are utterly tired. All right, they're going to be... Yeah, I knew they were going to be throwing at me, but... We're just going to have to take the losses. Okay, there they go. Alright, this is bad because... Alright, we did get a charge. What was that? What was that? What was that? Oh, good. Enemy commander slain. Wavering. Whew. Oh my gosh. Alright. Switch over to those Footmen of Harad. Now, we still may not win this. We're no longer charging... Let's, okay, let's run you up here. There we go. All right, we didn't lose our heir. We didn't lose anybody. That was fantastic. So we'll clean this up and see you back on the campaign map. Okay, so that bought us a bit of a reprieve. What that means is we won't have to fight a defensive battle up here, and we can just assault. And probably there's a family member in there, so this is something that we can do. It'll just be a quick battle, and we'll have Habad. So that will be nice, and then we'll be able to kind of consolidate and get our men ready for a follow-up battle, which is going to come. We'll get all these armies together, probably find a way to use those catapults, and yeah, we should be all set. So let's go around, though, because we do have some more men available in some of these places that we could send down. Alright, yeah, we've got another unit of archers. Move him. Actually, he was going to go over here, I think. So we've got a unit of Kingdom Militia. May as well start moving them over here. It's very unlikely that we're going to get any attacks over here, and if we do, it's not a huge problem. Okay, so we've got even more reinforcements kind of waiting. Since I've got 9,000 to spend, maybe it would be good to spend something in Minas Honor, and mines would probably be a decent option. This is going to give us just a straight up another couple hundred, and not even that much in mismanagement. And actually, the trade is really where the bonus is going to come from there. 3,800 to 4,200. So it's shy of 400. But that's a nice little boost. But yeah, unfortunately, looking around the central region of Harad, we can see that Far Harad is for sure gone, and we've definitely got Harad's attention now. They're moving, they're pointing their armies west. Usually, that's a pretty strong indicator of what they're planning. So they're sending these armies off after us. That means our work is not done, but once we knock out this region, get basically these 3 cities and an Umbar, we've got all of Umbar itself, the region as a whole, and this is like the best part of Harad's territory. This is certainly going to be the most friendly to our rule. As you can see, there's some Ways of the West here, although the region is officially Ways of Darkness. And we're going to get some pretty cool units out of here. In the inland, it's going to become less profitable, although we can still make some money out of taking like some of these ivory root settlements. Like these 2 might be good. I'm thinking what we want to do at this point is maybe start to give our protectorate some more territory. We give them that may help them get more income, and they kick that back in our direction. So that would all be to the good. So let's end the season here. We're going to be assaulting Habad on the next turn, I would say. Oh, we got a very desperate fleet. We got a slim victory on that, though. Again, all these ships are just going to be gone in a few turns. All right, what does Rohan want? All right, we're ignoring trade from Adunabar. What I'm hoping will happen with Adunabar is that the faction just dies off. It's very unlikely for that to happen, but it would be great if it did. That way we wouldn't have to worry about potentially losing our protectorate. Okay, so this guy is suitable husband, but no, he doesn't have any interesting traits as far as I'm concerned. We got our control post, though. Now we can train stuff out of Umbar City. And I'm going to start doing that. We've got a decent enough population that we can afford to train, a few of these footman levies. They're so cheap. Less than 1 million a man. What more do you want? So we'll go for that. And then, I don't know that... Yeah, we do want it. We want to go pretty much as quickly as we can, right up the line. Mustering Fields is going to give us some skirmishers, which are actually, a unit we can't otherwise train. That light javelin armed unit. And then we'll get some Kingdom Militia. Not that that's going to be too great, but the real prize is going to be at the very top tier where we can finally get Guards of the Haven. So let's go ahead and assault Habad. And yeah, this is just some random noble. This is the kind of battle I would cut. But, it's in the middle of the episode here, so I don't want to, stop recording. And since I'm going to actually play it through in the middle of an episode, I may as well keep it in so you can see it. We'll probably cut some of it, though. Yes, this is our newly trained general, Angamayate of Belfalis, leading this very, very nice Knights of Dol Amroth bodyguard unit. And we've got just a ton of rams here. Now, this kind of wall is a little annoying in that you can't do anything other than ram it down. There's no ladders. Men can get on the walls, but you can't get up to fight them unless you break through first. So it's a little weird that way. Let's use our mercenary Gondorian swordsman. So we'll drop all of these rams. The Mariners, we can get them together, and on that, and I'm overthinking this. There's a single unit in here. We're going to go through the gate, we're going to walk to the plaza, and we're going to murder that guy with arrows, javelins, and just everything else. Okay, we've got the gates down, we've got our swordsmen capturing all the towers along this length of wall, and we're marching in. We're going to bring up our general, of course, and for this, we're going to use the Blackroot Vale Bowmen. This is the unit we haven't seen yet, really, in action. Although, I think we did have a unit from the very beginning of the campaign, which we may have used in battle once or twice. We'll bring them up. We're also going to bring up all of our Kingdom Militia, just in case this bodyguard unit decides to run out. But this is a cav unit, of course. The Serpent Black. So, very, very nice-looking unit. But they're actually pretty vulnerable to missile fire, so this should be pretty quick work. Alright, they're moving out of the plaza, it looks like, to get a few shots off with their bows. But we're moving up our troops and not too concerned about this. We'll just march them up. We may take some damage with our Knights of Dol Amroth. But again, we can shrug off a few of these arrows. The thing about this unit is that it's really interesting that they have that versatility of being horse archers but also cataphracts. In practice, though, unless you're dealing with a very large size unit of this, like would belong to the heir or the king, you're not going to have enough firepower to really do damage to a proper unit, especially one with the armor that the Reunited Kingdom guys have. So we're not too worried about that. I think I'll stop the bowmen right here though, because they're running ahead of the spearmen, so that may be a bit of an issue. But they're coming up right behind them. We'll get a few shots in. These guys are going to charge forward. They're going to run pretty much right in this direction. But that's when the Kingdom Militia are going to come out and form up right along this line here. I guess they're not going to run out. They're going to use up their arrows. All right, good for them, I guess. It's annoying to have to lose these guys in the fight. For some reason, I didn't anticipate that happening, but I forgot these guys could shoot back. All right, you know what? Screw you. There we go. Stop killing my Blackroot Vale bowmen. The good news is these guys are going to recover to some extent. Oh yeah, we made short work of him there. Okay, so a clear victory, you know. We didn't really expect much different, but I'm curious to see how big the Blackroot Vale units are once we get to the campaign map. All right, let's watch the public order here as we take this. Okay, it looks fine. We're going to lay Desolate for sure, and we're still looking pretty decent around here. So in terms of those Blackroot Vale, yeah, 48 and 36, not too great. But, you know, we've got a bunch more literally right here. We got 2 more units, and we can get some more queued up if we really want them. It might be decent to bring some more along. But first, let's get rid of the mustering fields. Let's get rid of the tribal grants. And these execution squares. And I think, you know, everything else is doing stuff for us. We can do an administrative policy as well as Harad, so, you know, we may as well have that down here. Maybe Karis Nan can be financial, yeah, which it already is, and so that's perfect. We're not going to be training any troops really out of these places, but administrative gets you some things that you might use as a Reunited Kingdom. So havens could be either open or financial. This is for, you know, trade fleets and so on, so it makes sense that this would be a financial type building. Cultural conversion is open to, you know, any sort of policy, but healers would be admin for the highest tier. Hall of Feasts would be admin, but we've already got that built essentially. Lore. So we could go for libraries, and the second tier library increases law everywhere, which is actually, this is a great idea. I need to start doing this. Why have I not? Part of the problem with our income is we're facing this massive corruption, or as the mod calls it, mismanagement. So if you look at a place like Karis Nan, we've got 782 mismanagement eating up almost all of our trade. So it's just counteracting a lot of our income. Now, it's still worth it to get these settlements because it does creep ahead of the mismanagement, but, you know, in some cases it's just barely. So if we get the high-tier libraries going, we can do some really nice stuff. Now, I thought that these also allowed training of ballistas and so on. Yeah, so hosting halls. So if we were to go up... Okay, so this is where it's a bit of an issue. If we were to go up to the hosting halls... Let's see, let me read that again. Because I'm used to just training my catapults out of minus honor where they're already trainable. Okay. Construction of ballistas. The latter will also requiring hosting halls. Okay, so I guess we can't train catapults out of here. It would just be ballistas. And hosting halls would be the thing we need to do, but we can't get hosting halls here because it's going to be admin. So basically you need an open policy to get that kind of military use out of the libraries, which we're not going to bother with, but that's okay. So this guy could actually be a competent governor, but I want to use him in the field too. So we'll do that for a little while. Let's see what we can take out of here. We can kind of group up some of these militia guys. Leave that unit behind. We've got 100 men in Habad. How does it look? Oh, terrible. But that's why we brought some of these militia around. And honestly, getting mercenaries to serve as garrison is actually cheaper than using our local kingdom militia. And then we're up to 70, so awesome. We're already, let's see, we're also building... Where are we doing that construction? Is it in the north? Yes, it's up here. Oh, and it's finished. Okay, so we finished our homeland dominion there. So we need to find another place to do that. The trick is, any place we do that is going to be... we're going to need to destroy what we've already built. Or what's already been built. So... yeah, like here we'd have to get rid of this Homeland Dominion building. I don't know that it's worth it to do it down here necessarily. But maybe a place... let's see, Harlorn already has it. Maybe one of these other Harondor settlements might be good to start working on the economy. Or maybe Barad-e-Den. Let's see what we can... I don't think there's anything special we can train out of here. Other than, you know, men-at-arms, which is nice. But yeah, Barad-e-Den doesn't seem really worth it. So let's... Let's go with Harmen. We'll ditch this, and we'll go for provincial pacification. And we're going to need to get a few more troops in here. So we'll go with another unit of Kingdom Militia. Actually, yeah, more men. Dump them in. Okay, great. And this army is now almost complete. So let's bring them down here. We can have the air lead the army, which might be kind of cool. Yeah, let's head inland.
Captain. Your Honor, on my way. Captain. Onward. Sir.
All right, I think we don't need all of these archers. 51, let's see. So these two can go back up for training. We got 4 units we can add, so that's not quite perfect. Okay, but what we want to use is the mercs. So let's get you like right here. We definitely want the air and a couple of oh geez. We want some good cav. Let's go with this, and then we got a straight up bunch of Dol Amroth style units. And then these guys can also come along sort of as a reinforcement and to pick up mercenaries like this. Alright, we're training troops, and in the region we're going to have nice garrison capability.
Fleet ready. Attack. Victory. Attack.
Alright, so that fleet is gone. Over here we've got... let's do this with our brand new Alcarandas, and we'll wipe that out. Now the only place that they can be training ships is way down here, and they're going to continue to do that, which is going to be annoying. They're going to slip out. But I think we want to deal with some of these armies because Anumbar, although it is nice to have, it's not... again, they're not going to put together the armies that are really going to threaten this region. So what we'll do instead, we'll start to move these guys back up north, do some retraining around Pelargir, get some other men. But we want to move inland. We want to smash some of these armies and start giving some territory to our friends of Harondor. Alright, so let's check out the Siege of Lond Nernin. It is down to just 2 seasons, and yeah, look at this. We've got some armies moving around trying to claim the territory here. We've got like 4 different factions. Let's see. Okay, so everything is status quo down here, but probably pretty soon that's going to fall to Rune. Alright, let's go for another couple of turns. Oh, shoot. Okay. We've got a fight here on our hands, but I think we can do it. Let's actually... Let's withdraw because they may have used up all their movement points. Yeah, we'll do them on the attack. Always better to attack when you've got catapults. And we'll deny trade with the Bjornings, who may have taken this pass. Let's see. Yeah, they've taken the high pass. Okay, so we now have confirmed that we share a border with the Bjornings. So that means their troops could be anywhere around here. I think I want an emissary in the region. We'll send him over there, see what it looks like. Because they sometimes do come over to the west, and that could cause us problems, of course. All right, we lost an emissary in Fornost. I'm really not too worried about bribery right now. So let's just risk that. You know, we're not at war with the dwarves or the elves. If we are, then we need to be pretty concerned about those emissaries. But we're not at war with anybody around here. I guess Harad could bribe it just to be jerks, but I don't think they would. It would be funny if they did, so it's almost worth it to see if it happens. Okay, so here we are. We can attack this army now. We can actually combine these two and attack. But let's see. Let's get these guys into some kind of action.
Yes, master. Moving.
We want to make sure we don't take him so far afield that we're going to leave this area vulnerable. But yeah, we can do one more battle, I think. Let's go right here.
Prepare for battle.
And yeah, 821 men. Yeah, okay, a couple of swords, some cav. Oh, they've actually got a very interesting unit, Parchereb Tribesmen. This is very cool. I think this is available to pretty much anybody who takes the settlement that's right due south of the Mordor, pretty much. Lost Leden, and the settlement is Parchereb, so you can't really miss it. But it's a pretty unassuming place until you assault, and then you've got like a quarter stack of those guys who are much more dangerous than they look. Basically, they are red sand archers with spears, and that makes them a little difficult to deal with if you don't have enough archers of your own. Because of course cavalry is going to have a bit of trouble fighting them. And they're a very interesting unit just all around. Alright, so here we've got the heir and probably a relative, I would say. These Knights of Dol Amroth. He's of course a Dol Amroth family member, and then we've got a lot of Dol Amroth guys representing here today. Blackroot Vale and Bowman of Gondor. So I want to get the Blackroot Vale guys kind of together. We've got almost like a Roman-style formation here. I think it's okay. We'll just keep that. I don't know how good it's going to be against Harad. They're probably going to be right up on that hill. Yup. Jeez. Well, that stinks. Let's see if they move off of it obligingly. Okay, so in a situation like this, what you want to do is find a nice place to come up the hill at them. And that would be by going around. The AI is going to turn to face you most of the time. So if we can get over here far enough, they're going to start turning and turning and turning, and you can get them to maneuver right off the hill. The thing that's going to make them charge at you is if you get close enough to be within arrow fire. So you can kind of check that for yourself. Are you close enough to shoot them? If so, you want to make sure you're not that close. And if you, of course, if you stop to shoot them, they're going to send guys down after you. But what you want to do is stay kind of far away and get way over to their side and see they're going to do this little do-si-do kind of maneuver. And we want to get set up so we are, at a bit more of an advantage or less of a disadvantage when it comes to approaching them. Now, they do have some archers, but it's just these guys, and there's actually not many of them. Again, they don't look like much. Pretty much the red sand archer types. But they do have spears. There's only, I think, 26 in this unit. So it's not the end of the world if we end up meleeing with them, but they're pretty interesting to use. And you can train them, I think, out of that settlement at the second tier. Yeah, you can see here they are repositioning again. So we want to get like you know, somewhere around here, I guess, basically. It's a bit tricky when you've got corners and the barriers of the map. Okay, so here we go. They're going to get some archers at us, which is really unfortunate. Okay, but you see, you sort of outflank them, and they change their mind sometimes. Because we're not close enough to shoot at them. Now, we're still going to be going uphill. But it's better to be going this way than it is to be coming straight from that direction. So we'll see if we draw their cavalry out. Yeah, they're already shooting. They got pretty decent range. And, you know, man, these Blackroot Vale guys, look how they melt. That is so disappointing. Obviously, we're shooting, you know, uphill. The armor of these guys is not as strong as the longbowmen. And I'm not protecting them like I should be, so we're going to lose a bunch of them, which is sad. Not a lot of archers in this region until we get to Guards of the Haven out of Umbar. So, you know, I should have protected them a bit better, but I didn't. So here we are. All right, so yeah, we can start to see that our men are now very tired, utterly tired. We have not run them at all. They're just marching up the hill normally. So we're in the desert. This is really a bad situation. Our horsemen, though, fresh. Super well armed. Very heavy units, but it doesn't matter. Their horses are fresh. All right, we're going to lose some guys to javelins here in a minute. And that's just frustrating. We're kind of charging our cavalry for no real reason here. But we do have a bit of a secret weapon in these Knights of Dol Amroth. These are going to intimidate pretty much every unit. So they're feeling outnumbered already, but should switch over in a minute to say that they're, you know, intimidated by nearby enemies. Maybe the outnumbered thing overrides that. Because if we look at it, frighten nearby enemies. So that's why partly why these guys are routing so quickly. I should pay attention to this, though. We're going to get charged. And look at these guys still marching, and they're just completely wiped out. Okay, Heraldwaith Riders and Swords of Harad. Let's get out of their way, shall we? They look like the kind of guys who would throw javelins at us. Alright, so you can see, though, now that they're kind of backed off the crest of the hill, and if we move our men up and around, we could get them to sort of tilt. So let's get our bowmen out of this group. And we'll sort of move over here with the rest of the guys. And did we deal with the archers while I wasn't paying attention? Okay, we still got the Parchereb tribesmen. But the archers have gone, the Red Sand archers, unless they're hiding somewhere in the desert. But it looks like we actually did eliminate them at range, so that's nice. Alright, some of the troops are turning to address my cav. Let's get up here and maybe we can take out some of their cavalry. Alright, they're charging Heraldwaith Riders in. I think that's going to be just fine. these guys are going to melt. And we'll go after those swords, who probably got a javelin throw at us. Actually, no, they didn't. Alright, I imagine they're going to die. Yes, indeed. Let's go after the Hairdwaith Riders here and see if they stick around. Alright, I just heard the Head for the Hills order. I'd like to stay away from these Spearmen of the Serpent. We're going to get caught, it looks like. These footmen, I've got to say, are being surprisingly resilient, but there they go. And here we're going to switch over to swords and cut them down. There they go. Alright, very good. We do have our Kingdom Militia tangling up these spearmen. So let's just keep going after these archers and other units. And I think those Spearmen of the Serpent are going to give up pretty soon. But yeah, just look how slowly we're moving. Even our cavalry is just struggling to keep up. Alright, and this should be the end, pretty much, of that army. We've got the spearmen here. But everything else is fleeing, either in rout or in withdrawal. And I should bring back the Knights of Dol Amroth, actually. They're not going to be needed to chase these skirmishers off the field. We'll just be able to do that with weight of cavalry. And the morale penalty would be better used against these Spearmen of the Serpent, just to encourage them to quit a bit sooner. There they go. Alright, so we've cleaned out that army. We did take a bunch of losses among our archers, which again is just really sad. But the army is mostly intact. It's a mostly intact army, and we could do some more stuff with it. We could hit this stack, and we could hit it from a couple of different directions. I'm kind of feeling like using a different army to deal with this. We've got enough swords here that I think we want to preserve the really heavy hitters. So let's bring these guys down. They're going to stick, and so we'll do one more battle. One more battle, I swear, and that'll be the end of it. For this episode. So I think what we need to start doing, obviously, we've done a good job so far of consolidating the Umbar region, but in order to avoid having this be our existence for the next 40 turns, where you fight like 3 battles every single turn, we want to use diplomacy, and so we need to start giving away some territory. This is exactly the type of situation where you want to give away territory. It seems crazy. It's going to counter every instinct you may have if you're fighting these games. Obviously, the goal is, of course, to win land, hold it for yourself, get enough of it to win the game, and claim victory. But we're not going to wipe out Harad. That's not in the cards. I am not planning to do that. We'd have to go all the way over to Khand to destroy them, and I have no interest in fighting all the way through the desert. What we could do instead is start taking territory and gifting it to Harandor. This is what protectorates exist for. They provide you a very nice buffer zone, and at that point, once we've taken enough territory that we can actually, or gifted enough of it to Harandor that we can actually put a block in between our faction and Harad, we can start suing for peace again, like the good old days. You may remember at the beginning of this series, we were having war. What are these guys doing? We're having wars with Harad that would last like a turn or 3. Because we did not share a border with them, Harad was extremely happy to get peace with us. And so basically we'd fight for a few seasons, get peace, demand 10 grand from them as part of that peace agreement, and then they'd attack again and we'd go back to it. Well, we can do that this time. What we're going to do is get a couple of settlements in between us, gift them to Harondor, and then start attacking Harad with armies by land. We're going to leapfrog through our allies' territory, our protectorate buffer state. We're going to go over there. We're going to attack some Haradrian towns, burn them to the ground. It looks like these guys are just withdrawing now, or actually maybe not. Burn some towns to the ground, loot the place, maybe gift some more territory to some other factions just to cause some chaos in the region. And then we'll come back and ask for peace. And we'll charge top dollar for it. And so that is the way that I like to play. We could even get to a point where we get Harad as our protectorate if we have enough patience. I'm not sure that we really do. Because it would require getting them down to like just a couple of settlements. And so we would still be doing all of the fighting in that case. But what we want to do is just get them down where they're manageable, where they're not bothering us. And, the thing that I wonder is are they going to attack Harondor? Because I don't believe Harondor is at war with them currently. So I think having the buffer state there would be a really effective way to end our war, to prop up our protectorate. Now, the danger there is we start giving them too much ground, and let's say we lose the protectorate through, let's say we go to war with the Dunabar, right? And we've seen that Harondor is pretty eager to side with the Dunabar no matter the situation. So, that could be a problem. We give Harondor too much ground, then they start attacking us, and then we've got a sort of a mess on our hands. But really, Harondor is a much more manageable enemy than Harad is going to be. So I think that's how I want to play the South. We'll probably get, I don't know, 1 or 2 more settlements from Harad. Obviously, we're going to get the settlement of Anumbar. But we may get one or two of those ivory resource settlements in addition, just to help us make a little more money, and then give a few settlements to Harondor, and then call it a day. Alright, speaking of calling it a day, I think we do need to kill a few more of these guys before the army disappears completely. But yeah, that should be it. So that's actually everybody. Clear victory there. So yeah, that's the strategy in the South. We're not going to go too far inland unless we want to, lead these sort of sack and burn chevauché style raids to make some money, to maintain the balance of power in the east, where we can't really influence things too much. So yeah, I'm thinking we may want to grab this one. I think this is the more lucrative of these two. We may even grab this. I don't know. We'll see. But then we could give like this and this and this to Harondor. Something along those lines at any rate. So I think that's where we're going to call it. Yeah, we've got 1 season for the siege. So that means we could have this just by clicking the end season button. What may happen is they may decide to just not fight. They may starve out, or the AI more likely is going to sally on that last turn. But I think we've done enough for this episode. We've fought, again, a ton of battles against Harad. I do see that continuing. We've got another couple stacks at least to deal with before we get to where I want to, but that's going to be the plan. We take a couple of settlements here and decide exactly where they're going to go, and meanwhile we keep developing here, and we're looking pretty good. So thanks for joining me in this one. I hope you'll stick around for the next episode, and until then, everybody, take care.